The earliest Sunbeam Mixmasters, called the alphabet models, did something important. They defined the function. They proved that one motor could power an entire kitchen. One machine, many jobs. But they still had a problem. They looked like machines. Exposed parts, mechanical thinking, built, not designed. And by the mid-1930s, that wasn't enough for the new jazz age, because now form had to follow function. For nearly a century, the Sunbeam Mixmaster has been one of the most recognizable machines in the American kitchen. Millions were made, in dozens of models, across several decades. Many were wedding gifts. Some came from your grandmother's kitchen. Yours may have come from your mom. But whether your Mixmaster is a flea market find or a fully restored treasure from AuntieNin.com, this series will help you figure out exactly what you have. Because every Mixmaster has a story. The Mixmaster didn't just need to work, it needed to belong in a modern kitchen. And Sunbeam's answer was to jazz up the Mixmaster and bring it into the streamlined era. The first expression of that idea was the Model 3. When you look at this machine, you can see exactly what Sunbeam was trying to do. The front grille with those bold vertical lines, that's pure Art Deco. It's not just functional, it's dramatic. And then the handle, instead of sitting on top like an afterthought, it sweeps back as part of the body. Everything flows together. Even the front screw, instead of sticking out, now feels integrated into the design. The whole machine is smoother, more unified, more intentional. Compared to the alphabet models, which feel assembled, this feels sculpted. And this wasn't happening in isolation. This was the same moment that gave us streamliner trains, long, smooth, moving like they were cutting through the air. The same moment that gave us buildings like the Chrysler Building, where design wasn't hidden, it was celebrated. And now that same thinking is showing up on the kitchen counter. And so begins what we call the streamlined era of the Mixmaster, where form follows function and the machine fully becomes an appliance. But what's interesting is that this dramatic look didn't stay dramatic. By the time we get to Model 5, the design begins to calm down. The vents turn horizontal, and that change stays all the way through the Model 9. It's less about showing off and more about settling in. Model 7 carries that same design forward, even through the war years, when everything was uncertain. This design stayed consistent. And by the time we reach Model 9, the transformation is complete. The drama is gone, what's left is refinement. This wasn't trying to impress you anymore, it just belongs. What started as a machine with a bowl has become an appliance, one that looks exactly like it belongs in a modern kitchen. And as this design settles in, something else is changing at the same time: the American kitchen itself. For the first time, people are thinking about food differently. Vitamins are being discovered, nutrition is becoming part of everyday conversation, and suddenly, fresh foods matter in a new way. Food is traveling farther than ever before. Things that used to be local are now available in kitchens across the country. With fresh oranges available everywhere, the lady wants juice, so they gave her a juicer. They packaged the Model 3 with a citrus juicer attachment and called it the Model 4. Not because it's a new machine, but because it fits the moment. But progress barrels ahead, and convenience foods begin to emerge. Why transport the entire orange when she only wants the juice? Which means frozen orange juice concentrate starts to appear in stores, posing a risk for machines like this. Will it get pushed to the back of the cabinet, now unneeded and forgotten? Sunbeam doesn't let that happen to the Mixmaster. Instead of being tied to one task, it makes itself essential. You see, this is also the moment that figures like Betty Crocker began shaping how Americans cook at home. Concepts like consistent measuring, and standardized recipes brought superior, predictable results, introducing a variety of tools and dishes like America had never seen before. And Sunbeam leans all the way into it. The instruction booklets stop being just instructions and start becoming guides. Recipes are written with the Mixmaster in mind. Speeds, setting, and timings are all built right into the process. The machine isn't just helping anymore, it's part of the recipe. And that's the real shift. The Mixmaster doesn't just survive the modern kitchen, it becomes part of how the modern kitchen works. Other manufacturers began adding their own versions to the mix, their own machines reflecting their own ideas. But the Mixmaster is the one people recognize, the one they ask for by name. And by this point, everything is working. The design is settled, the kitchen is changing, the Mixmaster fits right into it. It's becoming a fixture in American homes, something people expect to see sitting right there on the counter. Demand for them was at an all-time high. And then, suddenly, they can't make them anymore. Not because nobody wanted them, or because everybody already had one, but because America was about to face another era of profound change. In the next episode, we'll look at what happened when the war effort forced American industry to retool, and what it took for Sunbeam to come back, just as demand and competition were about to explode.